Many people recognize the benefits of reading books and the importance of this activity for personal development. However, observations show that the number of readers is decreasing every year. There is a popular quote on the internet: "Those who read books will always control those who watch TV." The meaning of this phrase is clear, but few people start reading after hearing it. It can be argued that the development of science and technology, society, and civilization itself forces us to rethink our views, and that reading is allegedly no longer as relevant as it was, say, in the 19th or 20th centuries. However, this is not entirely true. In fact, it's not true at all. In this video, we will discuss 8 reasons why everyone who wants to develop should read. It is well known that reading books directly influences the development of imagination. Imagination is the ability of the mind to create images, ideas, and concepts and to manipulate them. It plays a crucial role in mental processes such as modeling, planning, creativity, and memory. In a broader sense, any process that takes place in images is imagination. Reading is one of the most effective ways to develop imagination because, while engaging with the plot, our brain creates pictures that the eyes do not see in reality. We imagine how certain characters look, the setting in which actions take place, and so on. To confirm that imagination plays a key role in reading, recall how, after reading a book, you watched a film adaptation and thought that certain characters did not match the descriptions in the book. This happens because your brain created an image while you were reading, and now it is comparing it with what you see in the film. This is a result of the active work of imagination. Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge, and some of his lectures began with the words, "Imagine you are riding a beam of light." Therefore, it should not be assumed that imagination is the domain of romantics and writers. Great scientists have successfully used it for groundbreaking discoveries. One of the greatest scientists in history, Henri Poincaré, believed that imagination is a crucial factor in intuitive discoveries. Regular reading has been observed to help maintain mental health. French writer Daniel Pennick said that the paradox of reading is that it takes us away from reality to fill reality with meaning. Of course, we cannot claim that reading can guarantee protection against Alzheimer's disease, but as a preventive measure against dementia, reading good literature is very effective. The brain of a reader is constantly toned and creates millions of new neural connections, which positively affects intellectual development. People who have read a lot throughout their lives begin to notice age-related memory and cognitive decline much later compared to their non-reading peers. Generally, readers are more confident in themselves. This is because a well-read person is more knowledgeable and capable of expressing and defending their point of view in almost any discussion. Moreover, if a reader is not familiar with a particular topic, they can quickly adapt, as their cognitive abilities are highly developed. All these factors subconsciously make a person more confident in their knowledge and abilities, resulting in a healthy level of self-esteem. It is no secret that regular reading expands one's vocabulary, making speech rich, expressive, and persuasive. Vocabulary, or lexicon, is the set of words a person knows. There are 2 types of vocabulary, active and passive. The active vocabulary includes words used in speech and writing, while the passive vocabulary consists of words recognized when reading or hearing, but not used in speech or writing. Typically, the passive vocabulary is several times larger than the active one. Let's conduct a small test. What synonyms can you think of for the word banal, trivial, unoriginal, vulgar, mundane, stereotypical, cliched, common, ordinary, and for the word cool, interesting, engaging, great, amazing, amusing, unique, astonishing? Finally, for the word chaos, mess, disorder, turmoil, bedlam, confusion, muddle, clutter, mayhem. Surely, regular reading can significantly increase your vocabulary, making your speech rich in forms and meaning. Voltaire said that reading authors who write well helps you learn to speak well. In the age of high technology and rapid speeds, it is increasingly difficult for people to focus on one thing. The so-called multitasking, which is somewhat of a myth, prevents people from concentrating. Patience and calm focus become rare, giving way to constant fuss and superficiality. One of the key factors for effective personal development is the ability to focus on one thing for a prolonged period. Reading develops this skill because our brain, captivated by the storyline, is entirely focused on the events described. The more regularly you read, the more your brain gets used to concentrating on one thing for longer periods. This is an extremely important skill that anyone can develop. Remember Isaac Newton's quote, "Genius is patience-focused in a known direction." It is well established that reading positively affects one's thinking and memory. People who read at least 1 hour a day have much more flexible and developed memories than non-readers. This is quite understandable, as reading allows us to escape daily routines and immerse ourselves in another reality where different events unfold. Moreover, the abundance of new names and biographies of characters actively stimulates memory. I remember starting a new book by a French or German classic in my childhood and feeling a slight but pleasant thrill at the abundance of complex names and the need to remember them all. Of course, this cannot help but train the memory. Additionally, regular reading of books develops thinking, enabling you to collect, analyze, and interpret the information received. By doing this repeatedly, you train your brain to think correctly, and in real life, a well-read person is much more perceptive and observant than someone who has never touched a book. Joseph Addison said that reading for the mind is what physical exercise is for the body. The influence of reading on broadening one's horizons is so significant that it is hard to overestimate. By reading good literature, you not only study psychology, learn to think and analyze, but also gain unique experiences observing life. Moreover, while sitting comfortably in your chair with a cup of tea, you can get acquainted with the culture and life of other nations and countries. Reading is, in essence, a journey you undertake without leaving home and without spending a penny. A well-read person has a broad horizon and can impress even narrow specialists with their knowledge. Moreover, many classical works are written in the context of historical events. Everyone will likely agree that reading directly influences personal development. Considering all the arguments mentioned above, the importance of reading becomes evident, and the question of its necessity becomes urgent. If you try to explain the benefits of reading and its difference from watching a movie in simple terms, it can look like this. While reading, information enters the brain through the eyes, where it is thoroughly processed. Imagination actively participates in this process, creating various images. When the images are created, and the brain arranges them according to the plot, only then do we experience feelings and emotions, making the brain the primary component. When watching a movie, images and representations do not get created by the brain. Instead, they enter it ready-made. Thus, the brain does not actively participate in the process, but immediately transmits information to emotions. It is not hard to guess the harm from this, since a person who relies solely on emotions is unlikely to stand up to someone who prefers reason. Of course, this is a simplified explanation, and critics may explain why this is not so. However, I still prefer that my children either read books or listen to audiobooks, where masterful narration beautifully replaces any cartoons, and their brains actively participate in the listening process and develop. There is a famous quote by George L. Gazis, "In history, there are two greatest inventions, the printing press, which brought us to books, and television, which took us away from them." Fortunately, this situation is reversible, and anyone can address this issue if they wish. In conclusion, I must say a few words about the act of reading itself. First, practice shows that reading is a skill formed like any other habit. Therefore, if you want to start developing, try to dedicate at least half an hour a day to it. You can set aside specific time before bed, on your way to work, or any other convenient time. For example, if you are used to scrolling through social media in transport, replace this habit with reading good literature, and you will soon notice a qualitative improvement in your life. Secondly, a common question among beginners is which books to start reading. Here, it is appropriate to recall the phrase, "To become smart, you only need to read 10 books, but to find them, you need to read thousands." This saying is not without meaning, although some general criteria exist for choosing literature. In the video description, you will find links to several selections that will help you decide what to read first. If you enjoy fiction, choose books that simultaneously describe significant historical events. Benefits will be much greater. Also, pay attention to biographical literature, which is usually very useful and motivating. And for those interested in self-development, look for books on personal growth, as many such books are available today.